Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 14, National Football League. One of the 6 snow games we had the pleasure of watching, and 5 of them were absolutely dandies. One of them, not so much, but this was one of the ones that you thoroughly enjoyed, and this was actually a good football game start to finish, and it was a football game that had a lot on the line. 5-7 Pittsburgh Steelers at home, last gasp, last ditch effort to stay alive in the AFC wildcard race. Meanwhile, the 6-6 Miami Dolphins are fighting for that last and final wildcard spot as well in the AFC, right behind the Baltimore Ravens, who are also at 6-6 coming into Week 14. So this was a big game. I mean, the winner of this game catapults themselves into contention. The other could essentially be done for the year. I mean, you look at it from the Dolphins' perspective. You're chasing the 6-6 Baltimore Ravens. You're currently at 6-6, but you lost to that Ravens team earlier in the season, so they own the tiebreaker. So essentially, you have to finish one game better than them to get into the postseason over them as a wild card. So you lose this game, you drop to 6-7, and the Ravens go on to win their game at home against Minnesota. They're 7-6, you're 6-7, and you don't own the tiebreaker. So essentially, you're 2 games back with 3 to go if you lose this game to Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, if you're the Steelers, you're already at a disadvantage because you're 5-7 on the season. You're not at 500 like the Ravens are, like these Miami Dolphins are. And so you need to win just to save face, just to keep pace in this race. Oh, that was a lot of rhyming. I like that. But you need to really win this game to get back to 6-7, to give yourself a chance should the Ravens falter down the stretch. So should these Dolphins. You beat them. You own the head-to-head matchup. A lot of things could go in your favor, but you got to make your own breaks if you are the Steelers. So this is a huge matchup. So let's break this game on down. 6-6 Miami Dolphins, 5-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. So Troy Polamalu drops a pick 6 on the opening possession. I'm not used to that. I don't know about you. I'm not used to Troy Polamalu not catching the football, especially on plays like this. He read, and this is a problem I have with Ryan Tannehill. I love Ryan Tannehill. I think he's a very young and up-and-coming quarterback. But he's a guy that will telegraph a throw. Remember that throw against the Buffalo Bills at home that was picked off by Nikhil Roby for a touchdown pick 6? Very similar to this play right here. He stares down a receiver. Polamalu reads his eyes, jumps the route, is there, has the football. If he catches it, he walks into the end zone. But one thing, you forgot the football. And so the Dolphins catch a break here. That could have been a huge play in this game. One that could have won the Steelers potentially this game. This game could have turned in a totally different direction if he picks that pass off, goes the distance. Instead, he drops it, it hits the ground. Now, he makes up for that a little bit later on, and we'll get to that. But again, that was a huge, huge missed opportunity by the Steelers. Troy Polamalu drops that pick 6 potentially on that first possession. And again, Tannehill has to stop staring down receivers. I know that you have a read and you think the guy's open, but you cannot stare down receivers in this league. You do that, you're going to have that result like you did against Buffalo earlier in the season at home when Nikhil Roby took it the distance. Troy Polamalu could have easily have done the same thing here on this opening possession, but he didn't. So he dodged the bullet. Steelers go on a balanced drive. A lot of Le'Veon Bell, a sprinkle, just a sprinkle of he. And then Emmanuel Sanders caps off the drive with a touchdown grab between 2 Dolphin defenders. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. He gets in the end zone to start the scoring in this game at 7-0. Steelers on top early on in this football game. Tannehill showing off the wheels. I think a lot of people forget this guy was an ex-receiver at Texas A&M before he was the quarterback. So he can run, 4.6 40 guy. He can move. And so sometimes I think he should run a little bit more. Sometimes I think he needs to be a little bit more decisive in his decision-making. Hey, you're going to run? Run. Tuck it and run. Hey, don't stand there. Run! Hey, if it's not there, you don't like it, run! But sometimes he stands there, he gets caught like a deer in headlights, he gets sacked. Hey, you're athletic. Newsflash, run! You can do it! You can do it! You can do it all night long. Run, man, run! And he did it on this drive. First, he ran for a first down on 3rd and 8, picks up 10 and a first down. And then he said, hey, that felt good. That reminded me of my old days at Texas A&M. How about I try this again? And he takes off this time and he says, I think I'll bypass the out of bounds sidelines and just keep going. And he outruns a good 2/3 of this Steelers defense before picking up 40 yards and getting out of bounds. I mean, it was a huge run. And again, I know the Steelers aren't the most athletic defense, but again, that was an athletic play by Ryan Tannehill to pick up 40 yards on that run, setting up a Khalid Sturgis field goal. 7-3 Pittsburgh. So Dolphins get on the board via Ryan Tannehill showing off the wheels. A Cameron Wake sack produces a fumble, which is recovered by Miami, yielding a 6-yard Charles Clay touchdown grab. It's 10-7 Miami. So Miami forces a turnover, and turnovers are huge in this league. You know how the great equalizer. You know what turnovers are. The great equalizer. Yeah. And Cameron Wake has been a beast all season for this Dolphins football team. They've needed a play. Cameron Wake has delivered for them. And no different here. Dolphins needing a big play in this game. Wake delivers the sack, forces the fumble, recovered by the Dolphins. A couple plays later, Charles Clay gets in the end zone. It's 10-7. Miami takes their first lead of the game. Dolphins block a Matt McBride punt, yields a 52-yard field goal attempt right before the half. But in these snowy, damp conditions, it's tough to kick it. Football gets a little heavy. And so he came up a little short, did Khalid Sturgis. Phins missed the field goal, and Steelers try to run it back for a touchdown. And this is one of the most entertaining, meaningless plays you'll ever see on a football field. Steelers, Troy Polamalu goes back there, catches the missed attempt in the end zone, runs it out, makes a couple of guys miss, starts getting up the field, then he pitches it back to a big, nasty offensive lineman who then pitches it back to Ike Taylor, who takes off. And I tell you what, Ike Taylor actually had some real estate. And I tell you what, if he makes that guy miss, he got shoestring tackled. If he makes that defender miss, you know there's a lot of linemen on the field during a field goal attempt. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But I'm not saying anything because he got tackled. So we move on to the second half. Opening Phins possession, a thing of beauty. Ryan Tannehill was sharp, leads to a Daniel Thomas walk-in touchdown from 4 yards out. It's 17-7. Dolphins taking a commanding lead in this game at 17-7. Now, let's talk about Daniel Thomas for a second because he had a huge game. But I wasn't expecting to see Daniel Thomas for the remainder of the season. In fact, many had thought that was his final game as a Dolphin, and we had seen the last of Daniel Thomas as a Miami Dolphin. But last time I seen him, he was on a cart, getting carted off the field, and the Dolphins told me he was done for the season. They were shutting him down. So to see him against the Steelers in the snow, slippery conditions, I was surprised. But Daniel Thomas came out and he balled out in this football game. He had a huge impact in the outcome of this football game. So did Charles Clay. So Steelers quickly climb back into the game. Heath Miller for 25 yards, then a 44-yard touchdown strike to Antonio Brown cuts this Miami Dolphins 10-point lead down to 3 at 17-14. And it's like everything just happened in the blink of an eye. You had that strike from Roethlisberger to Brown for 44 yards into the end zone like that. And then boom, like 2 plays later, Dolphins on the offensive side of the football, pick six, Troy Polamalu catches it, picks it off, gets down the sideline, dives into the end zone. It's a touchdown, and the Steelers are ahead 21-17, just like that, blink of an eye. If you blink twice, you missed it. And I told you he was going to make amends for that dropped interception earlier in the game. But this pick six here doesn't make amends for that pick six. You could have had 2 pick sixes in this game, not just one. And so, great play by Troy Polamalu. Disastrous, chain of events for this Dolphins team. You're up 10. And then all of a sudden, you have a defensive breakdown, and you allow Antonio Brown to run through your secondary, score an easy 44-yard touchdown. And then the ensuing possession, you throw a pick six, and you're down just like that. I mean, in the span of about 45 seconds, this went from a 10-point Dolphins lead to a 3-point or a 4-point Dolphins deficit. So, oh my, how the tables can turn in this league so quickly. Got to be careful with the football. Again, turnovers are the great equalizer. And you found that out very, very quickly. But the old Dolphins team, the Dolphins team that at one point had a 4-game losing streak, they fold, they crumble under this adversity in this game. You give up 14 straight in less than 45 seconds or so. The old Dolphins team that was struggling after starting 3-0, dropping 4 straight, that Dolphins football team would have lost this game. They wouldn't have recovered from that little span of football, that outburst by the Steelers. That would have snowballed into a 31-17 victory for the Steelers earlier in the season. But this Dolphins team, the one that's trying to make it to the postseason, whole different mindset. The more mentally tough than the Dolphins team earlier that would have crumbled under this. And Miami answers the bell as they drive back down the field on the strength of a Charles Clay deep ball and a nifty run by Daniel Thomas, coupled with a Brian Hartline gorgeous toe-dragging effort in the end zone to give the Dolphins back the lead at 24-21. So just a great drive all around for the Dolphins. You get a couple of guys to contribute on this drive. Charles Clay. He comes up big. So does Daniel Thomas. And like I said, he was huge in this game. I'll talk about him a little bit later. But Hartline, beautiful catch on the sidelines. Gets in the end zone. 24-21. Dolphins take the lead back from the Steelers. And that was a huge drive. They had to have that. Okay, you fall behind and you don't know what's going on and you're searching for some answers. That was the answer right there. Scoring points, getting a productive drive was the answer, and the Dolphins shouted that answer out loud and clear to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers said, hey, we're at home. We're not going to falter. Our season's on the line. We're going to give you everything we've got left in the tank. Steelers retake the lead on a Big Ben to Jericho Cotchery hookup. It's 28-24. So the Steelers, they're not relenting. They're giving them everything they got. And the Steelers say, hey, we're going to give you our best shot. And Dolphins say, hey, give us your best shot. We'll take it. We'll take it because we're on a mission. We're trying to get to the postseason. You are in the way. So, with that being said, a 55-yard Daniel Thomas scamper leads to a Herculean effort to get into the end zone by the one and only Charles Clay. And that man there, he's a monster. And I think a lot of people need to start taking notice to what Charles Clay is doing for this Dolphins team. Look, they had big plans, huge plans for, the tight end that got hurt in the offseason. His name escapes me. It's coming back to me. Give me a second. Dustin Keller. Okay, Dustin Keller goes down with that horrific knee injury in the preseason due to that hit from DJ Swearinger of the Texans. And all of a sudden, roles change, and they ask Charles Clay to do more than just be the H-back/fullback. Hey, I'm going to need you to catch some passes too. Charles said, look, I can do it all, man. Whatever you need, I can give it to you whatever way you like it. You can have whatever you like. Yeah, you need me to catch it? I can do that. You need me to catch the football and run after the catch? Hey, I can do that. I'm your man. You need me to run the football? Hey, I can do that. I'm your man. You need me to block? Hey, I can do that. I'm the man for the job, okay? Whatever you need, I can give it to you. Whatever way you want it. And that's what Charles Clay has been doing all day. for these Miami Dolphins. And that was a huge play in this game. Two Steeler defenders draped all over him. He catches the football, breaks those tackles. It was some poor tackling, but it was also a lot of muscle, a lot of Charles Clay showing off in this football game. And that was his second score of the game. But let's talk about the play leading up to that touchdown. And that's that 55-yard Daniel Thomas run. I don't think I've ever seen Daniel Thomas play a better game than this one here. I mean, well over 100 yards. And we're talking about 17 to 19 carries or so on the game. And he was phenomenal. I mean, he was busting off some runs. I saw some quick feet. I saw decisiveness in the hole. Daniel Thomas, to me, is a guy that is ultra talented, but to me, he lacks decisiveness. You know, go. You know, you see the hole, you hit it, go. Much faster than slow. And sometimes he's tippy-toeing. You're a big back. You're physical. You've got some athleticism. Use it. Use it, man. Don't be afraid. Cut up in that hole and go. And he did that in this game. And maybe that little bit of break that he had due to the injury, maybe it served him well. But I like the Daniel Thomas that I saw here. And he keeps playing like that. Dolphins going to have a tough decision to make in the offseason. But this was a huge game by Daniel Thomas and Charles Clay. So, with that touchdown by Charles Clay, it's 31-28. Dolphins take the lead. Steelers get the football back. And it's Big Ben time. You're thinking, okay, Big Ben's going to take them down the field, either get in the field goal range or win the football game with a touchdown pass. Either way, Big Ben is going to take us where we need to go. Not so fast. Dolphins say, look, man, I'm on a mission. I already told you. You in the way. Dolphins force them to 4th and 10 deep inside of their own territory. We're talking about at the 7-yard line. Dolphins force a 4th and 10. Steelers go for it. Ben scrambles. Gets 9 on the play, but it's short. Turnover on downs. You tack on a personal foul, unnecessary roughness penalty on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dolphins got the football right around about that 8 to 9 yard line. They run it 3 times, force the Steelers to call their timeouts, eat up some clock, kick a field goal. It's now 34-28. And in a day full of wacky finishes, this one definitely fits that bill as the Steelers, you know, they almost scored right before the half on a whole bunch of tosses and laterals, and they were trying to get something going after the missed Khalid Sturgis field goal right before the half. Well, they tried something similar here. End of the game, no time remaining. Roethlisberger throws a pass. They do the old hook and ladder. They lateral it back, and somehow they lateral it a couple of times, and Ben ends up with the football. Now, even if they score, I think they look at this and decide that Ben's lateral was a forward pass, and I think it negates the whole play. But it was still fun to watch. It was still fun to watch it unfold, and you almost saw another Music City Miracle type of finish in this football game, because when they got the football to Antonio Brown and they got it in his hands, you knew something could happen. I mean, the guy is an electric punt returner. And with the ball in his hands, he's one of the most dangerous guys in the National Football League. And he got down that sideline, and I said, uh-oh. And I'm screaming because, again, I wanted the Steelers to win this game at first because I had picked them on one of my sheets. But after seeing how the rest of the 1 o'clock games had turned out, it was more beneficial for the Dolphins to win than the Steelers. So at this point, I'm like, hey, man, somebody get this guy. And he's going out the sidelines. And I'm in disbelief. I'm holding my head like, oh, my God, somebody get this guy. And you know what happened? The football gods intervened. They said, hey, Mike, remember last week on Thanksgiving when you got in the way and stopped Jacoby Jones from scoring a touchdown? Well, it's our turn to exact a measure of revenge. Time for us to step in. Look, we're not going to allow the league to take any picks from you, okay? We don't think that's a fair punishment. But we think this right here is a little bit of retroactive justice, okay? So we're going to come back here and take this one from you just in case you thought you were going to steal this one. It's time for us to step in. Hey, we're going to slide the out of bounds line just a couple of inches in. Make sure that Antonio steps out of bounds. There you have it. Referees see the foot. They stop the play, show the instant replay. He does, in fact, step out of bounds. Game's over. Dolphins escape with a 34-28 victory. That's the way to get it done. Football gods saved your behind. But again, big win for the Miami Dolphins, one that they had to have. And again, it's a three-team race in the AFC for that sixth and final spot in the playoffs. It's either going to be the Ravens, this Miami Dolphins football team, or the San Diego Superchargers. And so one of these three teams has to assume that position. One of these three teams has to play flawless football down the stretch. Again, I think 9-7 is going to win that spot. And so right now, the Dolphins need to win 2 out of 3 to achieve that. So do the Ravens. But if you finish tied with the Ravens, if you are the Miami Dolphins, you don't get in because they beat you earlier in the season at home. So if you are the Dolphins, you need to finish better than the Ravens. And I think in order to do that, you're probably going to have to finish 10-6, not 9-7. Now, if the Ravens slip up, drop 2 out of their final 3, they'll finish 8-8. You have a chance to drop 1 game out of your remaining 3 and go to 9-7 and get that playoff spot. So anything can happen. If you're the Dolphins, you can't worry about anybody else. You got to take care of your own business before you can worry about anybody else. You don't take care of business, guess what? Whatever anybody else does is irrelevant. So you take care of business, stack these W's up like bricks, put them in that left-hand column, and when it's all said and done, you let them sort it out and tell you if you've done enough to punch your ticket to the dance. That's all you can do. And this is a huge win on the road because this was one that I didn't really see you get. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think you were going to get this one. But you found a way. You scratched. You clawed. Everybody contributed. From Daniel Thomas to Charles Clay, to Brian Hartline. Even Mike Wallace got in the act. Didn't do much, but he did a little something. Everybody had some kind of say-so in this win. And so you got it done on the road. Huge win. You go to 7-6. You're still around. That's all you can ask for if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Season's done. Look, it was admirable of you to make a run at it. To start the season 0-4, 0-5, whatever it was, and to be at 5-7 and a chance. I mean, you really had a chance on Thanksgiving at 5-6, chance to get back to 500. Ravens got you. I mean, that's the type of season it's been for you. But you're 5-8 now. Your season is essentially done. You gave it a run at home. You ran into a team that needed it a little bit more than you did. Bottom line. So that's going to do it for me here in the lab room. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. I thank you for joining me. That's going to do it for week number 14. What a week it was. I don't think you can get a better regular season week than week number 14 in the National Football League. And it was fun to break them down. It was fun to watch all those snowy games, including this one. Week 15, tell you what, you really, really got a lot of work to do if you're going to even come close to giving us the type of action and excitement that we had in week number 14. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you for joining me. Have a good one. See you next time.